The Prophet Muhammad told us that whoever builds a mosque for Allah, Allah will build for him a similar house in Jannah. And we know the great reward that will not only be gained, but rather will fill your grave after your death. Whenever someone prays there, whenever someone gives shahada in the masjid, whenever someone learns something in the masjid, yes, that will be something that you'll have on your scale. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing?
Alhamdulillah, we're doing good.
You're doing good, huh?
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Well, you've been unbanned from India now, haven't you?
Is that good news or bad news?
I don't know. It must be bad news.
Yeah.
It must be bad news for the enemies, for the ops.
It means we're not much of a threat anymore.
But
we
let's
need to
find
up our
out
game.
first. Let's see if it's true that we've been unbanned, I should say, from India on YouTube, on Twitter. Let us know if you're in India and you're not watching us from VPN. So just let us know, because we were both banned directly from the government.
Yeah.
You know, because of our whatever it is, activism, anti-Indian government activism.
And we did miss our viewers, the Indian viewers, that alhamdulillah are very active, and they.
Yeah, we missed them, man.
Yeah.
We missed them. And talking about important Asians who are making strides.
Yeah.
Political
another
strides.
Indian.
You got another Indian. His name is
Zohran Mamdani.
Is he Indian or from Uganda?
So his parents are originally from India. I think one of them's from Gujarat, and the other one, I think they migrated to Uganda or something, but Indian origins,
Sure. So, I mean, some people have been speaking about him as an individual who's been voted as a mayor in New York, similar to Sadiq Khan here in London. He's got the same kind of views. He's probably, I would call him a liberal secularist, socialist in his case.
Yeah.
He has the same exact views on LGBT, the same exact views on transgender rights and all this kind of things. And there's nothing about him in political life anyway, which indicates any semblance of Islamic identification. Of course, he identifies as a Muslim, but that's aside the point. Now, there's been, I would say, two extremes on how this. Tell me what you think of this. I mean, let's bounce ideas back and forth, me and you. But, you know, there's two extremes, I think, on how to deal with his case. There's one extreme which basically throws the baby out with the bathwater. It's clear that he, despite his allegiance to traditionalist values, or his views which are incommensurate or incongruent with traditionalist Sunni or Shia, by the way, because he identifies as a Shia, but traditionalist views from either of those perspectives, despite his incongruence with that, he's definitely better than his alternative, which is, you know, a Zionist, a supporter of Israel, etc. So from that perspective, for the pro-Palestinian cause, he's definitely good. And that's why you'll find people on the right wing, far right, attacking him and defaming him and talking about him eating food with his hands and so on. And you know what I mean? Like, as if they, you know.
And we saw the likes of Joe Rogan reacting to a clip of his where he was on stage with his the people that he was competing with, and they were all asked one question, which was, where would you go after, you know, your election? And all of them unanimously said Israel. When the camera panned to Zohran, he said, I'd stay here. And for Joe Rogan and a lot of people, that was a game changer. And a lot of people were saying, why is somebody that's being elected for New York being asked about Israel? Stephen Colbert, that was the first question he asked him. Does Israel have a right to exist? So that definitely was a significant part of his running for a mayor as well, and why a lot of people, I think this whole pro-Palestinian notion is becoming more acceptable in the higher kind of echelons the more Israel continues its genocide.
Absolutely. And it is significant for the pro-Palestinian cause that you have somebody who is unabashedly pro-Palestine, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim, by the way. And we'll come to this point in a second, but you know, that has been elected with a majority, which is a significant majority, 56% of the vote I think he got, and about 570,000 votes, and in the biggest city in the United States, which is New York City. So that is significant. And it does show that there, if anything, there has been a shift in public opinion, even more probably than anticipated, because his brand, the reason why he answered that way is because his brand is a pro-Palestinian brand. And that is probably one of the reasons why he was even elected, because it's probably underestimated how many people actually despise the policies of Israel at this point in time and the genocide that they're doing and so on. So I think that is something worth speaking about. Would you add any point to that?
I think a thing that really bugged these people, especially the right wing, they were saying that New York hosts the biggest population of Jews than any other city, other than, of course, the illegal state of Israel. So that was something that really kind of bugged them, and that's why they were really emphasizing on this connection with Israel to such a degree that somebody was on air saying, you know what, they should, seen as there are a lot of Jews there, people should go to Israel. But would you then apply that to other cities? What about there are majority Muslim cities? Does that mean they have to go to Makkah or Medina? Does that mean they have to go to a Muslim majority country? I mean, where's that link? But there's a very unhealthy link. Fixation of especially the UK and the US that we're seeing with Israel. I mean, the pull that they have, the colonization of the minds and the politics and the economy is actually very, very
disturbing. So that's one thing. I mean, the other extreme, so we said there are two extremes on how to deal with a case like Mr. Mamdani over here. One of them is to throw the baby out with the bathwater and to say, well, it doesn't matter, if he's pro-Palestinian or not, he is pro-LGBT, he doesn't have our views in terms of transgenderism and so on and so forth, and therefore, we have to throw him out. Okay, look, even if it was a non-Muslim, all right, Bernie Sanders, Jeremy Corbyn, someone like that, who is pro-Palestine, and you've got a chance that there could be some level of change, even if it's a 1% change in public opinion, in wherever it may be, social, political, economic, that helps our brothers and sisters in Palestine, then that is a good thing. Okay, from that perspective, it's a good thing. However, to link him with Islam overtly or any other way, I think is disingenuous. He doesn't even link himself with Islam when it comes to politics. He's not actually used Islam in any way, shape or form to shape or form his... So it's disingenuous on the side of the right wing, who are portraying him as an Islamist. I don't know what Islamist is pro-LGBT, what Islamist is pro-transgenders, right? This is actually... It shows ignorance, it shows illiteracy. Academic, social, religious and political illiteracy.
Someone made a good point. They said he's not a Muslim running for office. He is somebody
secular liberal
that happens to be a Muslim that's been elected as mayor.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, some people would even question that, frankly, because I don't see how it's possible for a person to claim to be a Muslim on the one hand and have these beliefs which are antithetical to what is referred to as ma'lum min ad-dini bid-darura, something known for the religion by necessity. Now, obviously, him being, and this is going to sound controversial, but I mean, let's just say anyways, him being a 12er Shiite, I'm not saying all 12er Shiites believe in this, but there are interpretations of Shiism which allow you to perform taqiyya, which is to lie about your religion. Now, this is not found in Sunni Islam, okay? You'll find that lying is restricted to 2 or 3 scenarios like wars, etc., in Sunni Islam. But in Shia Islam, it's way more broad under some interpretations. And so because of that, one could argue maybe he's just lying, about his religion or this, that and the other in order to save himself from political life, this, that and the other. So that he's got more ta'wil than someone like, for example, Hamza Yusuf, the one who was the Scottish Prime Minister for a while. Nevertheless, I think, to be honest, him calling himself a Muslim wouldn't suffice us to have him as some kind of a representative for us. For me, he is the same as a Bernie Sanders. In fact, I'll be totally honest with you, right? If it was a matter of, I know Bernie Sanders is not running for mayor in New York, but that's for the sake of argument, someone the same views as Bernie Sanders, being a white man and a liberal and a socialist, for example, or
pro-LGBT,
or whatever it may be, I would rather, like, if it was a choice between Mamdani and Bernie Sanders would be the lesser of two evils, because there's no confusion. There's no confusion that you're trying to mix your religious identity, which is antithetical to these notions, these sexual notions, or these gender identity notions. I would rather have a white man, or a white woman, in fact, representing our interests, than a brown man eating with his hands, but then causing all this anger and backlash okay, from the far right, and then having people mix and compromise their religion in this way. Do you know, if I had to choose between Bernie Sanders and Mamdani, I'd choose Bernie Sanders. If I had my own choice, I'd choose Bernie Sanders for those reasons.
There's a clear demarcation when it comes to a person's belief. Whilst here it raises a lot of questions. People would be like, okay, so he's Muslim, but he's doing this, but he's from here, he looks like us.
Yeah, so Islam should
confusions.
not be used, and this is a criticism that has to be leveled, okay? Islam and Muslim identity should not be used for political leveraging, okay? Why are you bringing into the equation that you're a Muslim when you support all these things which are non-Islamic?
But was that part of his campaign though?
It's a big part of his identity politics, right? I am this and I'm that, Muslim and whatever.
Surely that comes up though, right?
It does, but I'm saying that, you know, if you want to just be a brown man who's a liberal socialist, maybe if someone asks you here and there, yes, I have, you know, Muslim background or something like that, or culture, but to make it somewhat of, okay, this is what I am, I'm eating, I think there is something to be said about, okay, this is a bit, we're not going to, as a Muslim community, as a traditionalist Muslim community, we can't fall for this.
What I think we've brushed over as well is the fact that he identifies as a socialist. Now, this doesn't necessarily make sense. On the one hand, you're saying Allah's created everything and all of the systems, and we believe in objective morality. On the other hand, we say when it comes to economics and when it
Let's
comes
go to Karl Marx, maybe.
We'll go to this non-Muslim
atheist.
That's come up with his own system, and that's where Allah and his system, didn't reach, and it doesn't suffice for us. So that in itself doesn't make sense, and we shouldn't normalize that.
And so these are the two extremes. I mean, I heard Sheikh Yasser Qadi, with all my love and respect to him, you know, but calling this a civilizational victory.
No.
You're calling his being elected a civilizational victory.
In what sense?
This is the question. Is it a victory for the Palestinian cause? If you had to put it in that language, look, this is a good thing for the Palestinian cause. I think that would be non-controversial. Calling it a civilizational victory, is it
very strong language?
I mean, what civilization are we talking about? The Islamic civilization? So
the socialist civilization.
This is why I don't understand.
The LGBT civilization.
There are two extremes here, bro, and pragmatism has its limitations. Islamic Sharia consequentialism has its limitations. And its limits are, Islamic Sharia consequentialism's limits are the red lines of ma'lum min ad-dini bid-darura, or what is known in the religion by necessity. That's what it's limited by. And so, with this person being elected and, them attacking him, the right wing, it actually shows how true Allah's words are when he said, وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَن نَصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. That the Jews and the Christians will not be happy with you until you follow their way.
And here is a liberal socialist individual that promotes LGBT rights and, does whatever he does, but it's still not enough. He's seen eating with his hands and you've got people smashing him for that, saying he has no place in Western civilized society. You've got Donald Trump smashing him. Laura Loomer, who's an individual that was caught on camera eating dog food with her hands, she's saying that this is unacceptable and this is wrong. Another guy who's married to a woman, so this is a congressman whose father-in-law eats with his hands. These guys eat burgers and chips with their hands. And Jesus, apparently according to them, he used to eat with a fork and knife. No, he used to eat with his hands.
Yeah, it's a good point. How did Jesus eat? That's a great question.
But now the point is that despite him bending over backwards for them, like Sadiq Khan as well, when it comes to LGBT and all of this, it's still not enough for these people. It's just not enough.
That's why we can't. There's two things. Yes, we accept that you're pro-Palestine, but being pro-Palestine is not. We're not Christians in the sense that you believe is sola fide, the idea that you're saved by faith alone. And in this case, being pro-Palestine erases all your other sins. You can do whatever you want to do now because it's the equivalent of Jesus dying on the cross. Sorry to say, this is not what we believe. You have to be held to account for beliefs. You will not be rewarded, for compromising on your faith. And this is not just from a Sunni, I know you're a Shia perspective, because Shia traditionalists will have exactly the same view. And there's a difference here, and this is the bottom line between pragmatism, which is Islamic and acceptable in some cases, and compromise, which shows weakness. And I think, unfortunately, with these matters, it shows the latter. and we can't support that aspect of things. However, we do see that this is the lesser of two evils, and we understand that this could be something, inshallah, which brings the pro-Palestinian cause forward. But as for those people on the right wing who are saying, this guy's an Islamist socialist, I mean, just listen to yourself. Like, I think maybe it was Charlie Kirk who said this, or one of those ignoramuses. But, these two things are incompatible with each other. So, being a Muslim traditionalist believer and at the same time a socialist, or at the same time, LGBT, or engaging and believing the morality of homosexual acts and or transgender reassignment surgeries or whatever it may be, let alone dancing and doing the things in the marches.
And to these guys, it seems like anyone with a skin color or a belief or a culture alien to theirs is a threat, especially if they come from anything to do with Islam or linked with anything remotely Islamic, even if it's, for example, Obama, they said his name sounds like Osama. His father apparently is a Muslim, therefore he's a Muslim as well. Look over here. So for them, that's a big problem. But Obama, we knew in his presidency, he bombed at least six Muslim majority countries. So same with Sadiq Khan. Like Sadiq Khan, he's promoting LGBT and this and that. And the thing is that, look, we can say in this regard, they are good. What they're doing, it's good.
Which part of it? The LGBT,
In the pro-Palestine thing, we can commend them for that.
Yes,
we can say, look, well done for this.
Yes,
it does take a lot of guts, and he has been getting death threats and the like.
And it's helped him get elected, let's be honest as well. So it's pro-Palestine is not just something which you have benefited, it's something which has benefited you.
But then again, also he anybody doing this will be bombarded completely utterly. And the death threats he's received, the fact that he was crying on camera, we obviously sympathize for that. We don't want that to happen to anybody, but somebody that is linked to Islam, that's linked to the Islamic community, then they should be measured by that yardstick as well, where they are not meeting the mark, just like you do with any other politician. The same should be done over here. And just because we're doing husn dhan and we're saying, look, this is the lesser of two evils, it doesn't mean that's it. Then you just accept him wholly and completely.
Yes,
you can kind of
you can't accept him wholly and completely, because look, here's the question, right? If the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was alive today, this is a question we should always be asking ourselves. Let's be honest for a second, Despite, that you've got the pragmatic scholars on the one hand and the pragmatic students of knowledge, and then you've got like the ultra strict. If the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was alive today and he knew everything that we know about this man, would he not reprimand, correct, clarify? I believe that if you say that he wouldn't, then you are falling into disbelief.
It's because we're in a generation of don't judge me. You don't know what's in their heart. And brother, who are you?
The Quran mentions وَدُّوا لَوْ تُدْهِنُوا فَيُدْهِنُونَ. They wish that you could. This is Allah speaking to the Prophet about the pagan Arabs at the time. They wish that you could compromise with them, so that they would compromise with you. Okay. The Prophet ﷺ is, we know this, the hadith, famous hadith, they told him to stop preaching, and he said that if I had the sun on my left hand, the moon on my left hand, the sun on my right hand, I would not give this up. There's nothing that I can be tempted by. So you will not be commended by the Muslim. You cannot be commended. In fact, you should be criticized and scrutinized by the Muslim community for compromising on such issues. But at the same time, we know that there's a bigger enemy. And so this is the measured and balanced approach to this matter. And I think you will agree with us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey you! Are you wasting your time on social media again? Your brothers and sisters in Islamnet from Norway are establishing a masjid, a dawah center. Establishing a masjid to convey the message of Islam is one of the best deeds a Muslim can do. There's a huge need for it in Norway. You know this and I know this. So that makes the reward even greater. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.